Hey everyone, welcome to Two Car Pros. My name is Ryan, and today I'm going to show you exactly how to replace the sway bar end links and sway bar bushings on a 2005 to 2008 F-150. And this covers the years from 2005 to 2008. I know the gen is from 2004 to 2008, but somewhere in late 2004, Ford changed it, so it's a completely different thing on most 04 models. So it's easier to just say 2005, 2008. But if your truck looks like this truck, this video is for you. I took the wheel off on the passenger side, which is what I show, and everything that applies from the passenger side also applies to the driver's side. No, you don't need to take the wheel off, but it does make it easier, so I wanted to just show with the wheel off. You can just leave the wheel on. I did that on the driver's side, and it wasn't too bad. With all that out of the way, let's jump in. So here is our sway bar. So if you have gone over some bumps and you kind of hear or feel some clunkies, it might be this. So it's time to replace this. And if you replace it on one side, I would just go ahead and replace it on the other as well as the other bushings that hold the sway bar in place. So what we're gonna do is grab some WD-40 and hose down that stud and let it sit for about maybe 10 minutes. So now what we can do is take a 15mm wrench and put it right here. It might fight you a little bit because of crud and other junk. And we take a 15mm deep well or wrench and put it on that nut there. And then we can break it loose. It might be really snug, so you might need a breaker bar. There we go. And if you're worried about this under tension and just like springing off and out of control, don't worry too much, because I can just grab it with my hand and move it. It's not like it's an old coil spring on an old car or something like that. But always a good idea to wear eye protection no matter what when you're working on cars. Whew. And go ahead and take this nut off and this rubber bit and throw it right into the trash. So I've cut the boot away on the sway bar end link on the lower part that goes in the lower control arm, because I want to show you what happens if you try to loosen it without knowing what's going on. So I have an 18mm socket on the end of my 1/2-inch impact driver, and watch. See, it just spins and spins and spins and spins. Now the idea is there's a little hex on the end of this stud that you can hold a wrench on and then be able to take that off. But so here's what you need to do. Is with the boot cut away, I'm gonna grab my pair of channel locks here. And to be fair, you could use the nut on the stud on the bottom, but I think this is gonna be easier. And just hold on really tightly, and then it comes off. Super, super easy. And check it out. I got that nut off, and the sway bar end link comes almost out. And then go ahead and do the exact same thing for the other side, and then this will be able to flop up. And it's exactly the same for the driver's side as it is for the passenger. So with the driver's side in the exact same state as this, we should be able to grab the sway bar and lift it up enough to get the end link out. There we go. Nice. Alternatively, at this step, if you're just replacing the end link, you're good to go. Go ahead and put that back in, bolt it all back together. But if you're following along and you're replacing the other bushings that hold the sway bar to the frame, we have another step. And then just follow the sway bar down to where this bushing sits against our frame. Typically, if your sway bar's links have gone out, the bushings for this are right behind it, so I would just go ahead and replace them, and they're not very expensive, and they're pretty easy to do. So, just two 15mm nuts. And if that is your last nut, go ahead and hold on to the sway bar because you don't want it falling onto your head. Now go ahead and do this exact same thing for the other side. Once all the fasteners have been removed, we can remove our sway bar up and out of the truck. And do be careful, it is decently heavy. So here is our old sway bar end link. As you can see, it is totally junk and all the rubber's gone. Admittedly, I cut that off, but all this rubber up here is gone, so it's no surprise why this was going clunky over bumps. Here's our new unit. It is made by Moog. It is fundamentally very different looking. It even has a Zerk fitting. It has been pre-filled with grease, so don't worry about that. And the thing I like about it is it actually has a surface that you can tighten this bolt on instead of just kind of grabbing that, because you don't want to spin this inside of here because it can damage it. There is our part number for this exact piece. and the link is located down below in the description. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take it apart for now. Now let's go ahead and talk about the actual rubber bushing that goes to the frame itself. I'm gonna show you how to do one. The other one is exactly the same. Here's our replacement part. Again, it's made by Moog, and there is our part number. The link is located down below in the description for your convenience. These are pretty cool. They're made in the US, and they're Ford Blue. So that's kind of neat. So what I'm gonna do is just pop this off like that, and then take the old rubber off. And you can see that the opening is towards the back of the sway bar. This would be towards the rear of the vehicle. And then I'm gonna use some degreaser on the wear surface there, just because I wanna get that old grease off. There we go. And then since there was grease on here, I'm gonna go ahead and grease this off camera. There we go. You can see in there some grease. I just use general purpose Valvoline grease. I'll leave a link down below in the description for you if you're not sure what kind of grease. I'm just using this, just general purpose stuff. It'll be fine. If you don't grease this bushing, it will squeak like you will not believe. It will drive you insane. So make sure you grease it up. I even greased the sway bar a little bit, so we can open up our bushing. Might fight you because it's so new. Put it on there. There we go. Little difficult to get on there, but not too bad. And then we can take the bracket and just put it right back to where it was. And don't worry if there's a little bit of a gap, because when we put it in the truck, this is gonna pull it closed and everything will be nice and tight and good. So as you can see, I've already put the sway bar back in. I didn't film this part because it is ungainly and really difficult to film and involved many curse words, not okay for YouTube. So take your 15mm deep well and just wind them back in a little bit, making sure that the actual rubber part is straddling the metal. Just go as evenly as you like. That's looking pretty good. And on these nuts, you want to use new hardware. I didn't have that luxury this time around, but I thought it was worth mentioning. I grabbed my torque wrench, gonna tighten it to 35 foot-pounds. I notice my torque wrench hasn't gone off yet, so I'm just gonna go evenly. There we go. And there we go. And do the same thing for the other side. All right, now let's put the sway bar end link back in. So what I'm gonna do is disassemble it a little bit, and then I'm just gonna put this part of the end link in the lower control arm like this, and just get it started. It doesn't have to be, you know, tightened down or anything. And then what I can do is lower the sway bar into position like this. Oh yeah, but not quite yet, because what we need to do is take this rubber piece and put it on the end of the end link there, and then do the same treatment for the bolt itself. It kind of slides up like this. And no, this is not this is not quite how the stock way goes. The stock way just goes exactly the way you took it apart, which is a little bit easier, but that's okay. This will work great for many years. So let's go ahead and tighten this down. I have my torque wrench loaded up to 18 foot-pounds, and please listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth. 18 foot-pounds for this aftermarket application. On the stock application, this fastener would get tightened to 98 foot-pounds, which is a lot. So I'm actually happy that this aftermarket application is a little more gentle, I guess. And then just grab your 16mm socket for that on this application, and a 15mm wrench to hold the bottom, and tighten it up. Here we go. 18 foot-pounds. There we go for the top. So this end link's actually really cool because you can put an 18mm wrench right here and hold on to it, and it won't rotate on you. I like to angle the Zerk fitting backward. It kind of helps keep weather and stuff out of there, and it makes it a little bit easier to service in the future. And then I'm going to take an 18mm deep well and put it on the nut on the back. I'm just going to bring it down a touch for right this second. There we go, that looks pretty good. And then I have my torque wrench out, and I'm gonna go ahead and torque that down to 66 foot-pounds. Now that is for the Moog set. And actually, it is 66 for the Ford set as well. So no matter what, the nut that goes on the bottom of the lower control arm is 66 foot-pounds. So we can go ahead and do this, brace it. And there we go. Make sure you can get your wrench out of there. Might take a little wiggling. There we go. And that sway bar link is installed. And just do the same thing for the driver's side. It's exactly the same. So that's how to replace your sway bar end links and sway bar bushings. If you have any questions, please leave one down below. Thank you so very much for watching. If you found this video helpful and you feel like helping the channel out directly, becoming a member is the very best way to do that. You can also subscribe and like the video. It really helps my channel out. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.